In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, AQUAMAN, and those 3 junior super friends, Wendy, Marvin, and Wonder Dog. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks, nerds, fanboys, and girls around the globe. It's another episode of the Vigilant Geek podcast. I'm Andrew Puzak of Vigilant Geek Media, and with me, as always, my comic book partner in crime.
Holden Orme of Vigilant Geek Media.
And this week, we are going to cover the new publishing initiative that DC has come out with, and the comings and goings involved with the continuity since DC Rebirth kicked off. But first, let's talk a little bit about that ridiculous song we were just listening to.
Oh, wow. I don't even know why.
Those 3 super friends, junior super friends.
Oh, Marvin, Wendy, and Wonder Dog.
Wonder Dog.
Wonder Dog looks like he sucks. He looks like he just gets treated like shit. He isn't allowed to ride in the Batmobile.
Oh, no, you can't be shitting on the Bruce Wayne's bat seats. You can't be doing that.
No, they're freaking tactical. They're probably wicked tactical seats.
They're probably very expensive. It's Bruce Wayne. But, no, that was from the 1973 Super Friends cartoon, that little ditty we played for you to open up the podcast. We figured it was appropriate. We're covering DC today.
Yeah, it was really influential, I guess, back in the day. Plus, AQUAMAN getting some love in there.
Yeah.
He's one of the world's 4 greatest heroes, according to this show.
According to the Super Friends.
Back in 1970, AQUAMAN had enough notoriety to freaking have his own cartoon episodes. Although they never really could pin down what they wanted AQUAMAN's powers to be. Because like, yeah, the fish thing's good. But what about when he's on land?
Well, we'll give him a trident, and that'll help, right?
Yeah, that's good, though. But like, that's fine. Well, he's just going to normally fight people? Like Hercules or something? Legendary Journeys, dude?
You know, if they're going by the more recent continuity where he can actually talk to and command sea life, he's had instances, I believe, where he's actually, had giant sharks come up out of the water and eat people for him or things like that.
That is a fantastic point, Andrew. He doesn't talk to fish. He compels them to do his will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like...
See, I know a little AQUAMAN. I'm not totally inept in that department. It's not a book I've ever picked up and collected.
It's really acquired taste. It really is.
Yeah.
And it hasn't helped that AQUAMAN hasn't really been amazing since Geoff Johns did it in the initial New 52 launch.
Right. We'll get into more about Geoff Johns and what he did with that one shot for the opening of Rebirth. It was an amazing book.
Yeah, so instead of doing like a huge crossover event, which by the way DC is terrible at, they're so bad.
Yeah,
they haven't done a decent one in 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the New 52, you look at Trinity War, you look at Forever Evil, you look at Convergence, and
flop.
yeah,
Future's End, flop.
Future's End, another one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they tried to do the weeklies, which they were all right, but flop. Like if you're gonna, then they couldn't get it down, and then a 7-book crossover event in Forever Evil took them a better part of a year.
that's right. Yeah, I remember.
It's terrible. If
waiting
your
forever for
crossover
that,
event can't finish up in 3 months or less, you got a problem.
Right. Well, then you look at Marvel's Secret Wars, though, and they took like 7 or 8 months to finish that, didn't they? It was at least a solid 6 months.
Yeah, but
it was high quality stuff too.
it was really good,
Yeah.
and it was kind of understood that like they're just gonna go ahead and let a bunch of young creators like have their shot at like what they think things should be in this strange battle world where they can pretty much like do whatever they want with some of their favorite characters, and
right.
in the meantime they got people in the background writing actual stories for continuity and everything else.
Yeah.
And Marvel did a really good job. Marvel has amazing crossover events. I think like one out of 3 isn't really that great, but like they've been doing really well lately.
Oh yeah. I mean, ever since the '80s with the original Secret Wars came out, and then the early '90s with the Infinity Gauntlet, and all the Infinity books that came after that, and the Civil War. They've had some Avengers vs. X-Men, another amazing crossover. But see, I feel like Marvel has these factions, these awesome factions, and they just, you got like the X-Men, you got the Avengers, you got the Defenders, you've got, let's think about how many different Avengers teams are out there, and
Well, you get the Uncannies, and you got, well, I think the All New All Different's being disbanded in difference for this other book that Mark Waid's going to be writing called Champions, which is pretty much it's kind of like a Young Avengers, but it's also got the young Cyclops, and it's got the young Hulk, and a couple other like Ms. Marvel, Nova, and Miles Morales.
Milo Morales, yeah.
Yeah. You keep saying his name wrong. You're gonna make me do it.
I see now. Now it's become second nature. So I thought I was right. My bad. Miles Morales. I'll get that right someday. Yeah, the second Spider-Man. Now, sounds interesting. But yeah, over the course of decades, Marvel has just done really well with crossovers ever since the original Secret Wars, 1984, I believe, and they put that crossover event out strictly to sell action figures.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the action figures were actually just awfully done. The detail was horrible, and people weren't really buying them, but people were buying the books. People were buying Secret Wars. It was just that good of a crossover. So, they did a few other Secret Wars, including the one that just happened last year.
Marvel's done countless of great story arc events that are crossovers. Yeah. With DC, it feels like they've done only a handful that didn't have anything to do with Crisis. It seems like they're like, as much as Marvel's tied to Stan Lee's legacy, it really seems like DC is tied to Marv Wolfman's legacy even more.
Yeah.
Because with everything they've tried
all
to
the
done
Crisis
over the
books, yeah.
Yeah, ever since Geoff Johns, I don't know, maybe he's just a huge fan of the Wolfman in that event. I mean, it was a huge deal.
You even look at Flashpoint, and Flashpoint is linked to the Crisis books as well. It's all those crossover events. That's the one cool thing that I understand they did is they linked all these Crisis books and Flashpoint, and then after Flashpoint, that was where the New 52 came in. But
and then Rebirth is when. Yeah. Well, anyway, we were supposed to talk about Rebirth anyway, right?
Well, we can get back on task if you'd like. So you want to talk Rebirth? Geoff Johns. In accordance to DC's publishing initiative for their Rebirth line of books, Geoff Johns came out with a one-shot to kick everything off, and it primarily starred Wally West. And a lot of DC fans grew up with Wally West as their Flash. And Wally West sort of took a back seat during the New 52. I remember seeing like the young Wally West, the African American version of the character, but I'm talking the Wally West, the white bread Wally West that was in Titans.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So, well, I guess what happened was in the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry Allen sacrificed himself to try and defeat the Anti-Monitor.
The Anti-Monitor, yeah.
And he was thought to be dead. And he ended up coming back in Flash Rebirth, back when Geoff Johns was writing the Flash books. And then he came back, and then there was two Flashes, right? So you had Wally, and then you had Barry.
Right.
And then when the New 52 happened, the white Wally was put on the shelf in favor of a darker-skinned Wally of the same name.
Right.
And now, in the spirit of Rebirth, they're bringing back the old Wally West. And the spirit of Rebirth is that DC forsake this entire legacy of continuity when they went ahead and started this the New 52. The New 52 was like, hey, hit the reset button, and then we can go ahead and tell all these stories that already happened again.
Right.
And or like tell these in a different way, or change things a little bit here and there. And I guess it just alienated the fan base. I was oblivious to this because I started reading in the New 52, and I was just
As did I, yeah. So I'm right there with you.
Like, oh, it's so safe to come and read now because I don't have to try to remember the last 75 years.
Exactly, but a lot of people were pissed about that, and they stopped reading. And now we you actually put it perfectly in your article, Unfiltered Thoughts on the Comic Book Industry. Check out the blog if you want to read it. It's an excellent article by Holden. Go to thevigilantgeek.blogspot.com, and it's right on the page. Anyways, when you stated that DC, something was missing during the New 52, but you couldn't put your finger on it, and now it's like everything's complete again.
It was like, this rich history.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these books have been... I mean, it might not seem like a lot, like for a book to come out, like for like a 30-page book to come out once a month. So that means that you're only really going to get 3 stories out of it a year, and
right,
and yeah, they're trucking along, and I guess what was it like when we were at Boston Comic-Con? Dan Didio was like, I guess it was like a couple like. What it was is just before DC they did that DCU initiative, which was a lame, like it was just like, hey, we're gonna start these up at #1 again or some No, that wasn't that, because it was.
Well, they put out a bunch of books with DCU. A bunch of new titles got released for a short period of time.
Yeah, they changed the status quo for Batman, Superman, and then they tried to really put these new type of characters out and try to bring in the new crowd and see if people will buy things that don't have Batman on it.
Yeah, it's tough. But it's like Batman is like this special seal of approval, this guarantee. Like if you see the bat symbol, it's like, oh, this will be good to read.
Yeah, we're going to do this. It's about this guy who delivers pizza in Gotham. It's going to be great. You could tell these short stories, dude. Fucking 12 issues. Then after that, dude, we're going to go and make another book about something else crazy going on. Something vaguely to do with Batman, but not really.
Yeah, it's like friggin' dishwashers and street cleaners in Gotham, like doing shitty work, but Batman's like every once in a while like shows up in a panel like in the background, like doing something cool.
Yeah, no, he'll just like look down, and then he'll just like shoot up his grappling hook and disappear.
And it's like that, but it's got that Batman seal of approval on it, so yeah, you got to pick that book up. Yeah.
Dude, it was so important. Did you see the panel when the Batman was in that book, dude? Dude, you just know he was busy after doing something between this story arc and this story arc.
I bet he was going after the Joker, dude.
Whoa, dude, he's always going after that guy.
The Joker, he's like a dog chasing cars. He doesn't know what he's going to do when he catches it. You know what I mean?
Dude, he's going to go and he's going to bark at you a lot, dude. And then he's going to freaking wag his tail, dude.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes.
So anyways, in this spirit of bringing Wally West back and rebirth and everything is just being rebirthed. So Wally West, I believe he fell through a crack in the time stream. Am I correct on that?
No. What happened is somebody, after Flashpoint, somebody else intervened. Flashpoint was its own thing, but while it was happening, there was another entity that was observing it and then took advantage of it and then took away their continuity and their legacy.
That's right.
And made everyone forget Wally and trapped him in the Speed Force.
That's right. Yeah, so he's been, and people have been forgetting about him, like Linda Park, who like his girlfriend.
It was like his wife.
Barry actually, until like the very end, not to spoil things.
He just tries to make these connections with all these people he knew.
Yeah.
And everyone kept forgetting him, and then finally Barry was actually able to finally just remember him because he's just not as sensitive to all these like different time changes and stuff. Eventually, he usually kind of clicks back and realizes what's supposed to be what.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what Barry Allen did, and
Barry realizes it, and then all of a sudden it's like everyone in the DC universe just kind of wakes up and like, well, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? And then like they just start remembering all this stuff, and it's nice because now that this has happened, all the new story arcs for like Detective Comics and Batman and all these things, it feels like they're matter and they're part of something bigger, which they are technically.
Yeah,
they always are, but like they're kind of honoring the legacy, and they kind of give these callbacks to these other stories, like all these old stories that I still want to go back and read, like Nightfall, and
it makes it all prevalent again. Yeah, absolutely.
All the old canon stuff, because it's just all these characters have done these things, and it's just nice when you have that to call back on.
Exactly. No, so I like to look at it kind of how I sort of equate it to like the New 52 was like an alternate Earth, an alternate dimension for DC Comics, and the way I look at it. That's just the way I look at it.
I look at it like it's kind of like this really huge villainous event that lasted 52 issues, where this evil entity goes ahead and made everything in reality askew. I mean, in reality, though, it was just a great big marketing cash grab.
Exactly.
Look, this has got a #1 on it. That Action Comics #1's worth a lot of money. All the other ones with #1s on are going to be a lot of money, too. You better go snatch them up at your local comic store. Go to your LCS. Go down there. Go pick them up. Pick up your books.
Yeah.
Be sure to pre-order things, or else the creators will starve.
And I got suckered into buying all those #1s, and I mean, it is what it is when you're a collector. But let's pretend for a minute that it wasn't a marketing scheme. Let's use our imaginations. I like the analogy you use, like this one big evil event where this entity trapped everyone.
Well, I mean, they definitely allude to the fact that Dr. Manhattan, part of a completely different I guess continuity now, but also a DC property with Watchmen, is somehow involved on this.
I know, because the pocket watch, it popped up. It was the pocket watch or the button?
The button.
It was the comedian's button. Okay, that's what it was. The watch was at the beginning of the book. That's right.
And they also teased it at the end of Darkseid War, where Owlman, he finally got his ass in that Mobius chair, and then Dr. Manhattan obliterates his ass in it. He just gets obliterated out of nowhere on the surface of the moon.
Dr. Manhattan shows up in that arc?
At the very, very end, you just kind of know it's him.
Oh, I never finished Darkseid War, actually, so...
there's so many weird things happen in that.
Wow.
That's the thing about some of these DC arcs, too. Like, the main characters are never the Batman, the Superman, the Wonder Woman. They're always just kind of supporting. And then, like Like, remember in Crisis on Infinite Earths, like Alex Luthor Jr. or is it Alex Luthor the Third is like a really big character, and the Monitor is a huge character, and the Anti-Monitor is a huge character. And then there's this girl, Tempest, I believe. She's a big main character in there. But like all these made-up characters, more powerful than most of the DC heroes.
Right. Right.
But the story is mostly about them. Like, at least with Marvel, they're more like about the characters and them interacting. Everything's got to be a cosmic event with DC, with fighting like aliens with tentacle robots.
I know, or starfish.
They never really get into like civil unrest and politics. Like, the DC heroes don't ever dabble in politics ever. I don't know what it is. It's just part of the company's stance on things. I mean, comic books tend to be fairly liberal. I mean, you can go ahead and take a stance on not killing people. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Superheroes have always done that. Go ahead, keep that stance. But, I mean, they never talk, and they always got to make up country names. I just wish the DC were more consistent with that. If you're going to go up and have a fictional place in a fictional world that's like Earth, like, you can't have, like, Washington, D.C. You need to name the capital something else.
Right,
And and then establish where they are geographically on the map, and then sell it as a poster so that I can put it on my wall.
Brilliant.
Right.
Brilliant.
Yes. Yeah. Things that DC needs to do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm with you.
Hopefully, when they listen to this, they'll get right on that.
when they listen to this. Yeah. But
So yeah, after that though, everything kind of started up a new story arc. It wasn't really all that dramatic. You didn't need 8 books for it to happen. You just started reading the new ones, and I really got heavily into Batman, Superman, and Aquaman, and then I need to get caught up on my Green Lantern and Flash, and then after that I should be out of those books, and then I'm going digital.
Flash has been cool.
I'm not gonna be reading. The actual books anymore. They just take up too much space.
Yeah, space is becoming an issue for me as well. It's tough because you want to collect those books, but just to get the gist of what's going on, it's sometimes easier to do things digitally for a while.
Oh yeah. So. Well, I mean, I did the math. I'm not completely getting rid of everything on my list. I'm just I'm doing the mail order thing, and I'm getting them delivered once a month, so I'm still saving like $25 on shipping because they're heavy.
There you go.
But like just the obscure stuff, the stuff that needs to be kind of pre-ordered so that it'll stay alive, or that to make sure that I'll get it and that I'll at least get it through the run that's finished, at least.
Yeah.
But where was I at?
Oh, you're just talking about the books that you've been catching up on for Rebirth. You said you still got to catch up on Green Lantern and Flash. I have to catch up on Green Lantern as well.
Yeah. Some of them look promising too. Titans looks promising.
Titans has been good. I've been reading that one.
And then they got some other ones slowly creeping up, which looks really good. So, and they a lot of their books have been coming out twice a week, which kind of a strong point that Marvel had going on for a while with their Iron Man and Spider-Man books. They had one coming out every 2 weeks, and that's always a good thing when you got
I love bi-weekly books. I love weekly books. I love when Batman and Robin Eternal was coming out every week. You know?
And that was just one big story arc out right at the gate too. I still haven't finished. Not finished, but I still haven't read Batman and Robin Eternal.
I got about halfway through it, and I'm gonna have to get that in a trade because I'm all out of the issues that I collected, and I didn't finish collecting the rest of the story arc. So, yeah. Well, let's dive into some of these core DC characters and what's been going on with them during Rebirth so far, just a little bit.
I think, most of them have gone through like a decent 6-book story arc at this point because they're coming out bi-weekly and they're coming out at a steady point.
Let's talk about the Dark Knight. Let's talk about Batman first. Why not?
Let's talk about Batman.
Talking about Batman. So Tom King's writing that book right now.
Yes, he is.
And
he's writing that book right now.
Yeah. And there's two new heroes that have popped up in Gotham. Now, their names are super, super creative, so just brace yourself. The male superhero is named Gotham.
Whoa. Whoa.
And the female is named Gotham Girl.
Whoa. Whoa, dude.
And they can both fly, and no one, I don't know if they got explained. Did they explain how they got those powers?
Yeah, they bought them. They were like heiresses, rich people, and they went through the same thing Bruce did, except this time Batman saved the day when the pearls were about to get torn off the neck and the family was about to be shot to death, right?
Yeah.
So Batman goes, he saves the day, he tells them it's okay to be afraid, but don't stop living. Fucking does his Batman disappearing act. All of a sudden, they're all about doing goodwill, trying to make good things for the city. And then they find this thing overseas where they can go ahead and get these powers. But the problem is every time they use their powers, depending on how strong they want their powers to be, it cuts off minutes or hours or fucking days or years off their life.
Wow. Yeah, I actually I only got a few issues in on that one. So I didn't know that all that was going on. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, well, it gets crazy because, like, they're doing the good hero thing. Batman's still wicked slick, and freaking Gotham can't really sense him and stuff. And what happens is that Amanda Waller's been freaking, like, she's always, like, messing around with villains because she's trying to look for new promising people for Task Force X,
Yeah, new promising suicide squatters.
And so what they do is she got her hands on Hugo Strange because he's really good at manipulating criminals.
Oh, yeah.
And after she got her hands on him, he went and introduced him to the Psycho Pirate, which is this old character who has the ability to manipulate the motions of the most powerful characters. Manipulate anybody. Like, Superman's not immune to this. So
Right. They had him, Psycho Pirate, show up in the New 52
so they had
Superman.
So they go ahead and they have the Psycho Pirate make just go ahead and manipulate the motions of Gotham, and they make him wicked pissed off, and he kills all these government agents. But then one last government agent saw him with his face off, and they found out who his parents were, and his parents were assassinated, and then he went on this huge rampage. And then the Justice League came, and then he made himself so powerful that he kicked all their asses, but then he died minutes later because you just, if you're going to make yourself that powerful, you're just a human being, you're going to die.
Right. Wow, that's excellent.
And then the sister's still around, but she's gone catatonic, and Batman doesn't know what to do for her because she still wants to do good, and she does, but she's kind of like, every time she goes out there and does her thing, it kills her.
No, it's one of those catch-22 situations, I suppose.
And then it set everything up for a showdown with Bane somewhere, and they got this crossover event between Detective Comics and Nightwing called Night of the Monster Men.
Right, yeah, I heard about that.
Which I have not gotten into yet, but it is currently going on, I believe. So, yeah.
Oh,
should be fun.
We'll definitely catch up on that soon. Speaking of Detective Comics now, that book has been impressing me so far since Rebirth started, because they went back for that one to the old numbers.
They went back to the old... Yeah, that was one of those legacy books. They did the same thing with Action, too.
With Action Comics, too. Yep. So this has actually become probably the best team book out on racks right now. A very interesting team of Gotham characters that are working together under Batman's supervision.
It's such a great idea. The fact that they haven't come up with it sooner is just freaking dumb.
Yeah.
Right? What they've turned Detective Comics into is the Bat Family Team book. That's what it is. And they didn't have it before. And the fact that they didn't have it, it was like one of those things that like you needed in your life, but you didn't know you needed it until you had it.
Exactly.
So now we got it. So now I have to have a Bat Family Team book in my as part of the things that I read now.
Oh yeah, everyone should. Everyone listening right now should have that as well. You should have this book. If you're not getting it, shame on you.
Well, they did a nice job spreading the wealth around certain the Bat family members, because they're getting to be like the X-Men now, where like certain people have certain favorites.
Right.
And that's the only reason they're going to get written. Like Harper Rose kind of not really around right now because everything's about
Bluebird.
Yep, she's kind of disappeared. I don't know if she's part of the Birds of Prey book. That would make sense.
I read it. She is not, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Or wait a second. It was Huntress. Yeah, sorry, she's not part of that. It was Huntress, Black Canary, and Batgirl, obviously.
Yeah,
so,
see?
At least for right now.
See, cool character, but just not...
Well, Scott Snyder created her.
Yeah.
Well, I like her. I think she's cool. She'll be a good character to have around for that, Detective Comics book, for the future. You also got Orphan, which is like Cassandra Cain, Batgirl.
Yeah, and she's just like the mute fighter lady.
Yeah. Yeah, and then one of the cooler things that I thought they did is, how every team book, usually has a big guy. They took Clayface, Basil Karlo, Clayface, who's a popular Bat villain, and they made him turn good.
He did a face turn.
He's like the strong man of the group, which is really neat.
Well, he can also do spy stuff too.
Because he can change. He can shapeshift. Yeah,
shapeshift, and then that's cool that they did that. I like that because they made him too creepy. Because they made it so that he can copy people's DNA. So now he's become way too malicious. So at least they're giving him like a different role. But I guess this Detective Comics story run, freaking, I think it happened like it started before the Rebirth one shot.
Did it?
Well, I feel like it did. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it didn't. I wasn't getting Detective Comics regularly early. When I jumped in, I was halfway through the story arc so in the Detective Comics arc, I guess we might as well just talk about it. It's like first Batman gets everyone together, and then it turns out that the government's trying to seek out this these agents from the League of Shadows, because the League of Assassins believed that there was a League of Shadows. Everyone was scared of them, and like Ra's al Ghul was the only one allowed to talk to them.
Yeah,
that's how scary they were. So the U.S. government bought into the story, and they've made all these drones to go ahead and assassinate these people. And then the Bat family has to go ahead and combat this, and then what's Batwoman's name? Something Kane.
Kate Kane.
So Kate Kane has to deal with her colonel father, who's like heading up this thing, and then everything goes to craziness, and then freaking everyone thinks that Tim Drake's dead.
Right.
Which is like a kind of a huge deal. And then
really, he's just kidnapped.
He was actually just kidnapped by this Oz character that kept popping up in the Superman books. And started during that one 6-book run that Romita Jr. did with Geoff Johns.
Yeah.
That Oz guy.
Yep.
And he's just researching people, and this is going on during the New 52. So now it looks like they're going to have a big face-off between all these guys, or maybe they're going to make them fight each other. I don't know. DC doesn't really have much of an imagination, so anything they do would be refreshing as long as it has nothing to do with Crisis.
Right. Let those crisis dogs lie.
Yeah. Leave it be. It happened. It was nice. You don't have to. I don't know. Like dead horses, man. Leave them beating dead horses.
Beating those dead horses.
Dead horse beating contest.
Well, I imagine we can't finish talking about Batman without talking about All-Star Batman.
Right. So this is kind of off to the side stories. Because you know how we've been talking before, how Snyder wants to go ahead and write every Batman rogue even just a little bit before he's done with the character.
Yeah.
Well, now he's hit the fast forward button with this All-Star Batman arc that he's got going on with Two-Face that has brought every rogue out of the woodwork. Even though most of the minor ones, we're averaging about 4 or 5 per issue so far.
Yeah, a lot of Gotham City jobbers like Killer Moth and Firefly. Who else? They had KG Beasts, Killer Croc.
Killer Croc, King Shark.
King Shark, yep.
And then that huge muscly dude. It was even bigger than King Shark.
Huge muscly dude. Him too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's still clearly lots of room for more and more rogues to be popping up in this crazy roller coaster of a story Scott Snyder has cooked up with John Romita Jr. So let's talk premise. Let's talk about Two-Face. Let's talk about what his plan is, because it all revolves around Two-Face's plan.
Yeah, so I guess Two-Face is just freshly caught after a plan to go ahead and maim the city with acid rain, which I guess maimed a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. No, he caused a huge catastrophe.
So just before Bruce Wayne goes ahead, just before Batman goes ahead to go take Two-Face and put him away, he's trying to put him away somewhere where his influence won't allow him to get out. So Two-Face makes an announcement that he's got dirt on everybody, which he does.
Yeah.
And that he's going to release it unless somebody kills Batman. And if they kill Batman, he'll go ahead and just transfer money from illegal accounts into their accounts, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So all of a sudden, every crooked motherfucker is out there trying to kill Batman to try and free Two-Face. So they're going cross-country to get to this place where I guess people aren't influenced by what Two-Face knows. And
right.
I don't know, so it's this big cross-country trip, and Batman's just kind of like fighting off all these different ones all at the same time.
Yeah, it's been wild. It's been awesome. I've really been digging it.
Yeah, the art's been amazing. The coloring's been top notch. He does a really good job telling a story. He's also developing the Drake Thomas character a lot more.
Yeah, the Lark.
I think they only called him that back in, what was it, Endgame, when they were doing the nightmare flashbacks and he was there.
Well, yeah, I don't think they've used the term yet, but all that Batman's really said is, I'm trying something new with you. Like,
Like the training regimen about how, like, each one wants to be a hero. Like, how they're talking about that, and like Dick is blue, and then Tim is like, I don't know, each one of them has their own color pattern for how they think and do things. And
yeah.
that's whatever. Well, they got the cool, like, Victor Zsasz, like detective story in the back.
Yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that. So yet another rogue popping up. That wasn't a rogue that Snyder wrote. I forget. I forget who wrote that little bit of story in the back.
I forget. Wasn't he in like some of the Dark Knight books?
Victor Zsasz?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. He was big. One of the big scary bad guys for that title. But
he's just total. I remember for that, and then Detective Comics, there was just a bunch of serial killers for a while. It was like a Law and Order Batman.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way, they need to make it like that's what Gotham should have been. Law and Order Batman, where you got Commissioner Gordon like being the point man. I haven't watched the show, but I know that's not what it's like. I know it's much worse.
I won't even get into Gotham, the show.
It's like a fourth. It's gonna get on a fourth season almost. Like, why? I don't
No, there's
understand.
enough idiots that don't read the source material that watch it and think, "Oh yeah, dude, that's how shit went down in Gotham before Batman, dude."
Dude, I bet you don't even know Mr. Freeze's real name, dude.
I was so peeved and angry when they did this with lots of Batman's rogues already, but when Mr. Freeze showed up with the full suit and everything, it's like no, that's not how it happened. It infuriates me. It's like, and then you take like some of the really good pieces of Batman's source material, and what do? You hand it over to the writers for Arrow to script it into the next fucking season of Arrow versus fucking Ra's al Ghul. Arrow.
But at least Arrow was good for a while.
Yeah,
I don't know why they. But what's preventing them from giving Batman his own show? Is there some sort of weird Titanic rights thing involving?
There may be.
That they're just we're oh, I know. Maybe if we write a story about this turd that Batman shit out, and then we'll follow his journey through the Gotham sewer system, and then maybe he'll go on adventures.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But either way, lots of great stuff, as always, coming out of the Gotham City neck of the DCU.
Well, there is now. They've done a good job of dispersing the characters throughout the various books. So, now Damian doesn't have his own book to himself. They put him in a Teen Titans book with some old favorites. I believe they got Starfire and
Raven.
No
Raven.
No Raven. I believe Raven's got her own book though.
Beast Boy.
Yeah, Beast Boy.
Oh, that's cool.
And no Cyborg. Somebody else.
That's neat.
Bunker, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really read that. That's certain books are for certain age groups. I just kind of leave alone.
Yeah.
Really aren't for me. I'll go out of my my comfort zone every once in a while, but for the most part, not so much.
Yeah, well, there's books written for every demographic you could think of, I imagine. But yeah, let's change gears here and let's talk. Let's talk about the other colossal DC Titan character. Let's talk about the Big Blue Boy Scout, and let's talk about Superman.
Right, so with Superman, we're dealing with fallout from the New 52, where they had this arc where the New 52 Superman dies. Over the various arcs over Superman's existence through the New 52, because I guess the New 52 is kind of a separate reality from the one that the original Superman and the Golden Age ones were.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes they get confusing with continuity. Anyway, the original Superman, the honest to God original Superman, ends up during the Convergence event. I guess it was one of the only important things to happen out of that Convergence event is that Superman, Lois Lane, and their son Jonathan end up escaping to the current reality, current continuity.
Okay.
So the New 52 Superman throws down with this monster, and he ends up dying, and he was sick because the Dark Side War stuff really messed with him, and then him losing his powers and getting nerfed really messed with him, and he just couldn't hold out, and then he got kryptonite poisoning, and he died, and there was no way to revive him. So the other Superman has to go up and pick up where he kind of left off, and he's doing his Superman thing. And in the first arc, he's fighting this Kryptonian survival robot that's got the souls of a bunch of Kryptonians in it. And he's fighting it on the moon currently. And he's there with his wife and son. And yeah, it's kind of a throwdown on the moon. I guess Batman has a secret base on the moon. That's where they went.
That is awesome.
It just figures though. Go ahead, you hear it, and then you're like, well, yeah, that must be true. Of course, Batman's got a secret base on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah. Go figure. He's got more goddamn resources than the U.S. government and any other government combined.
Yeah, and then in Action Comics, Superman he was originally fighting with Lex Luthor until Doomsday showed up. And then they both fought Doomsday to pretty much a standstill, and then Oz sent his people out there, and then they easily subdued Doomsday and disappeared.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that whatever the next big event thing's gonna involve that guy.
I think you're gonna be right about that. Yeah.
Too much. I mean, the good writers, if they're writing anything for any extended periods of time, you can kind of see the foreshadowing and stuff. You see that a lot in Snyder's work, but it takes you forever.
Right.
You don't see Duke Thomas until like at first in
Endgame.
Zero Year.
Oh, that's right. I always forget. You saw him in 0 Year first.
Yeah. He's just a wicked smart kid, and he's trying to like get really good at riddles so that he can save the city. And then that was just him back then. And he just seemed like such a minor character. And then the same thing with Harper Row. And then a couple of.
And if you talk foreshadowing too, you gotta, of course, mention one of the biggest examples of that with Snyder's work, where he did that thing with the Joker, where no one knew where the Joker was. He was like among the missing, and he was actually like he had blended in and was working at Arkham Asylum, and he was brainwashing all these Arkham inmates. And it turns out that
that he was actually just hiding in plain sight again.
Hiding in plain sight
again,
and then
always hiding in plain sight.
When Batman's all right, so long and the short of it, Arkham gets moved to Wayne Manor for a while.
Yeah.
Remember that nonsense?
Yeah, I don't remember reading those books. I remember being really frustrated because they were just like, "Hey, it's got Batman on it by me."
Yeah.
It's got Batman on it by me. Yeah.
But the coolest thing is Batman is in the old Arkham Asylum that had been turned to rubble during Batman Eternal, but the Joker's cell is still intact, and he's walking around in Joker's cell. I think he's trying to like reminisce and think about maybe something he's missed while trying to figure out what the Joker's up to. And
wasn't he just fresh off like a fight with the rest of the Justice League, and he's trying to like look for clues and then,
of what the Joker did.
And then the Joker's like, "Hi, I've trapped you, and now I'm gonna tell you my plan, and now you're screwed because my plan's awesome."
You couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it any better than that. Yeah. So it was kind of a cool shock value, like that minute character. That risque Eric Border,
that guy
that worked
who thought
at,
was just a filler
for
all these books and then, especially that annual. Man, I don't like annuals. I'm just gonna throw it out there. They usually don't continue the story. I mean, I get it. You want to go ahead and get young creators like a chance to get normal work out there, so the resumes will look a little bit nicer.
Right.
And you got to give normal creator talent some breaks, but
yeah. No, I'm not the biggest fan of annuals either, because usually they'll throw something in an annual that if you don't pick up the damn annual, and it's always like $5, if you don't pick that book up, then you're gonna miss out on something important.
It's always a little bit longer, but like most of the time, it's just like 3 short stories.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, remember the time Batman actually ate pie? Like, oh, wow, thank you, Batman. Thank you, kindly old lady who made me pie. And then Batman, like, disappears. Oh, my pie also disappeared.
I got nothing for the pie joke, man. That's all you. But,
Batman can do what he wants.
Superman sounds like it's been pretty action-packed. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Getting kind of family-oriented. Batgirl. No, not Batgirl. Well, I've been reading Batgirl, but Batgirl's not at Burnside currently. She's not going to be back until, like, issue 6, which is nice. I don't know. I liked Burnside. It was this nice part of Gotham, which is kind of hipsterish, but it kind of felt like you wouldn't at least get killed.
Yeah.
By a psycho murderer.
It definitely felt like a nicer part of the Gotham area.
Yeah, like the main portion of Gotham is just so dirty. Why people live there is, I have no idea. It's like their opportunity there.
I think they're asking for it. You want to live in Gotham, you're asking for it.
Yeah, and then they have Supergirl. She's getting ready to throw down against Cyborg Superman, which is like her dad.
Haha.
And then I guess she's got keys to the Fortress of Solitude, so that's cool. But then she's getting nagged at by this organization that helped her get her powers back.
Ah.
Because Supergirl was actually canceled back in, I don't know, I think it went up to like 13 issues and then they stopped.
Huh.
Because it wasn't selling enough at the beginning of the New 52. Like all these female characters that probably just need better creative teams, and they're just like, didn't work. Young girls don't want a role model at all. They're like, or we'll put it all on Wonder Woman. And frankly, like from what I've heard, like Wonder Woman's stories haven't been done very well on that. And now everyone's losing their mind because Wonder Woman's confirmed as bi.
I saw that. That wasn't a big surprise for me. I feel like almost every DC female is bisexual now. At least a great portion of them are either bisexual or lesbian.
Well, it makes a lot of sense for a lot of the characters, to be quite honest.
It makes a lot of sense. Kate Kane is a lesbian, obviously. Batwoman. So you got Batwoman. You got Catwoman, who's bisexual. You have Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, which I feel like people say they're more queer than bisexual. I'm not going to get into the differences on all that jargon.
Man,
but
they got like a pamphlet on the internet or something.
Yeah, if I'm sure you can Google all that stuff. If I'm not, I don't know every exact term for sexual preference, but yeah, I do know that like they have a ton of characters. DC has a ton of characters, female characters that are bi or LBGT for that matter,
and they all have dead parents.
Yeah, the whole dead parent thing. I mean, some origins maybe need to be reworked, but
that folks are dead.
Couple more things we want to get into while we still have a little bit more time.
Well, the other ones. Have you read any other books that I haven't really touched on? Well, what else? Well, I've read Aquaman. I know for a fact you haven't read Aquaman.
Yeah, and then I've read The Flash, and I believe that's something you're still catching up on.
Yes, this is true. Well,
so yeah, let's at least cover those.
Well, what happens in The Flash? Because that was like one of the books that was most important and was directly affected by Rebirth.
Right. So there's been this like anomaly in Central City, and all these different people who were normally just regular people, they are all popping up with Speed Force powers. And Star Labs has teamed up with The Flash, and The Flash is training everyone to use their Speed Force powers so that, they can get a handle on it. And then, if they choose to do good with said powers, then the Flash loves sidekicks. That's the thing about the Flash. He loves having a good sidekick that can keep up with him and run as fast as him, or almost as fast. So he's thrilled. He's loving it. He's like, everyone's gonna be Flash like me. Yeah.
Oh man, and we're just gonna run. We're gonna run so fast. We're just gonna run, all of us, all at the same time. We're like, and everyone's gonna be like, oh my, geez, look at all of them. They're so fast.
But there's this new villain that's been popping up. I mean, we're pretty sure he's a villain. Named Godspeed.
Is this the character in the all-white Power Ranger looking
uniform?
Yes,
that is Godspeed.
Yeah, did they explain his... I don't know, because they're all... That seems like they get not creative, and they get tired, and they're like, hey, what would happen if the Flash faced off against another speedster?
Which happens all the time.
Yeah, it's a pretty old hat. I mean, the only difference is each of these villains has like a different reason on why they're fast. So,
right.
So have they explained why Godspeed is fast?
Nope. They're still like getting into it. But long of the short of it is one of Barry's new besties at the police department, Central City PD. I forget his name, but he gets Speed Force powers and becomes Barry's new sidekick. Lo and behold, not to throw any spoilers out there,
But he's Godspeed?
yes.
Yeah. Oh, man, they freaking left field with that one, man.
Yeah.
Man, there's only so many characters we've already developed for this arc. Man, who is this guy? He's this mysterious guy appeared out of nowhere. But we only have so many characters. They're just going to go ahead and throw you for a loop and make up somebody after all this character development? No.
Yeah.
No. Comic books are wicked melodramatic and can be predicted. You could totally prognosticate these things.
A lot of the time I can, yeah. Yeah, I'll admit that. Doesn't mean they're still not fun to read, but I do have to agree.
Oh yeah, I mean we wouldn't be doing the podcast if we didn't enjoy them and know all about them and then still not care even with like the irritating things and the silly things.
Yeah, exactly.
Irritating things and the silly things. Well, Ruby did some other stuff too. They've been actually kind of spoon feeding everybody the line. They came back, let's see, they did a Blue Beetle, which I tried and then just kind of snored through. Because it's like, the story itself is like, rich billionaire pressures young teen with scarab powers into doing stuff. and Ted Kord's like, really, he's like poor man's Batman. He's like, hey, I got gadgets too. I got the Blue Beetle hovercraft mobile. Come, Jamie, we need to go fight crime. So, Ted, Mr. Cord, I'm in class. No, I'll write you a note. I really don't think so. A note. People could be hurt. And then he always just this happened all in the first issue.
Sounds like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, except Rick and Morty's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. This guy, the writer Keith Geffen, he's been really trying to like do something with this Blue Beetle character, this Jamie Reyes.
Yeah.
And he's been trying to do it since the New 52. Because I read the book back then too, and the character was doing okay until it kind of went with this super mega religious Jesus story, and it kind of turned me off to the character, which didn't matter because they canceled it shortly after.
Yeah.
But now he's got the character again, and they're trying to do this weird like apprentice-master relationship thing with Ted Kord, even though Ted doesn't have powers. He's just got a lot of money. So there's that. They're still doing a Constantine book. I already mentioned the Supergirl book. They got 2 Green Lantern books, Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns, and then Green Lanterns, which features Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz. And then, yeah, so I haven't gotten caught up on those. I have the books, I just, haven't read them yet.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. Let's hear a little bit about what's going on with Aquaman while we still have a couple minutes here.
Well, Aquaman actually has been quite refreshing. I firmly believe that like the best Aquaman stories are the ones that...
Some might say aqua fresh.
They would be aqua fresh. Yes, it would. Are the ones steeped in politics and his role as kind of like a leader in Atlantis as opposed to a superhero sometimes on land. That's just something he does part-time, but most of the time he's this like sovereign leader of an extremely powerful nation under the waves that could probably wipe out the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the kind of respect they give the technology that the Atlanteans have. So the book's real good. It establishes out the gate that Aquaman is like the hero that doesn't that sticks out on the Justice League and doesn't really fit in with anybody, and like the fact that everyone disrespects him in real life here, it also has kind of carried over and become a major part of the character within the book, and he gets like all the scrutiny and just disrespected, and he's just the talk to fish guy, and all these things come into play with how he has to deal with things in reality in the book. But like the cool thing about Aquaman is like he doesn't have the time to feel pity and like and like get really, really irritated. He always just really like professional and composed, and is always just taking care of business and always tries to do what's best, and doesn't have time to give a damn about what other people think. So in the beginning of the book currently, he went ahead and he tried to establish a embassy on the Cape, because I guess Amnesty Bay moved from Maine in the New 52 to now it's in around the Cape in Massachusetts, which I love that Massachusetts has its own hero.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I can't wait till they get some fishermen in there, some Gloucester types with the thick accent, dude. Hey, dude, why don't you tell him I'm getting my net, dude? My wife's bothering me. I gotta buy a new freezer, dude. The ice maker's it's on the fritz again. Come on, Artie. I know you can do it. Yeah. So anyway, so they got that. They got the embassy, and then of course Black Manta has this huge like death revenge thing going on, where his whole life is now dedicated to like killing Arthur Curry and ruining his life. So they face off, and they blow up the embassy, and the United States is like, "Hey, what's the deal? We're closing down the embassy." And then they take him into custody, and he willingly goes into like private custody and arrested because while he's visiting the White House trying to get the embassy opened, a terrorist cell sunk a battleship. Well, not a battleship, a destroyer. They're not battleships anymore. But this terror called the Dirge, I think. And they went ahead and they sunk this destroyer, right, from the Navy, and they think that Atlantis it was a conscious decision by him to do that, and he's trying to explain that it was terrorists from his own nation that he's trying to deal with, and he's got no control over them. So he's in prison, and then Mira's finally like, all right, enough of this, I'm breaking him out. So she goes and breaks him out, and they're confronted with all these people, and they're wicked far inland, so they start jumping Hulk style.
Oh, wow.
And then they end up getting into a conflict directly with the military and start throwing around helicopters and ripping up tanks, and then Superman shows up, and then they end up getting into a brawl / conversation where like Aquaman sucker punches Superman. It's sweet. He's just like, we're doing all this and that, and Superman's all condescending, like, no, Arthur, it's fine. I'm sure we'll just go and we'll just talk to them. And then, like, meanwhile, Arthur's like a king, and he's getting talked down to, like he's just part of the Justice League, and he just wham hits him with a Russian sickle and just smashes Superman. And then Mira ends up knocking him across the map too.
Oh, nice.
And then it was this great fight. It was a great fight. It was Aquaman #6. If you want to see that fight, it is a great fight.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out actually.
And then after that, they're going. And then meanwhile, Black Manta had been captured, put into custody. He's trying to find a life purpose now in this secret organization trying to control the oceans called Nemo. Tries to recruit him, and he runs into they take him to the main guy. He's like, no, I just want you to be an asset. Haha. And he's calling himself the Kingfisher. And you're like, why? And then Black Manta's like, well, I think we should try doing this, this, and this. We're like, no, you don't understand your role here. You're not here for ideas. And he's like, oh, well, why not? So then the Black Manta slits the dude's throat in front of all his cronies and sits on his throne.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, the king is dead. All hail the king. Any questions? I love Black Manta. He's just
Black
so
Manta's a
badass.
great villain. He's a great villain.
Yeah, there really aren't that many Aquaman rogues because he ends up killing most of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like sea monster types, and they end up getting the trident through the face.
And then there's Ocean Master and Black Manta.
Yeah, that's going to be a big time event when he shows back up again too. They kept teasing that the seven Kingdoms of Atlantis arc. They were teasing it really heavy, and it's just got put on the back burner, and I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Ah, damn.
But it might. I mean, who knows? I mean, Geoff Johns isn't writing anything right now because he's so busy helping guide other things. But
right,
he might come back and do that eventually.
Oh yeah, Geoff Johns. I think he truly loves writing comic books. So like, he'll never fully, separate himself from that. I don't think.
Well, he's part of everything creatively. Plus, like Rebirth isn't fully blown yet. Like they're still getting ready to do some fringe character stuff. Like they got some arcs coming out in the future called like Death of Hawkman, which I'm interested in. I'm just mostly interested in it because Aquaman, well, not Aquaman. I mean, I do like Aquaman, of course, but Hawkman is a really interesting character. He's kind of like Wolverine with wings, because that nth metal, that special metal, it's like got mystical properties, allows him to fight supernatural beings, it allows him to regenerate, it morphs kind of like a symbiont. So it's like so he's got this wicked interesting power set. So I'm wondering why they're trying to kill him off like right out the gate.
Yeah.
Or maybe he won't die. Maybe something else will happen, or I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so far with the good crawl. But most of the titles we just mentioned come out twice a week. Well, not twice a week. No, once every 2 weeks, bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. Yeah, I love how DC does that. That's great.
Well, it's good now. They didn't before.
They didn't before. But they started to. Yeah.
They had a lot of strong titles. I've heard Wonder Woman's as good as it's been in years. So I'm probably gonna.
Who's writing that right now?
Greg Rucka. And
okay.
I don't know who's doing the art, but I've also heard that is a really, really good. So.
Oh yeah, sounds promising. I'd say.
I mean, the art's always good. I just wish I could remember the artists' names better.
So, as you know, a hardcore DC fan, which we both are, would you say overall you're pleased with the Rebirth publishing initiative?
Oh yeah, I'm so satisfied with it that I'm kind of willing to really cut back what I'm reading on Marvel, because Marvel's really had a market share for now, and then I've tried out some stuff, and Marvel's got decent good stories, but like none of them were really blowing me away.
Yeah.
And then I'm going and I'm reading Rebirth, and you get catching up with these old titles, and so far it's just been really good. Like there are a couple titles you've been reading also, like Nightwing and Titans.
Yeah, Titans has been really cool. Basically it's Wally West, and he's teamed back up with, Aqualad, obviously Robin, the Titans.
Yeah,
and
they got like Nightwing, Roy Harper.
Yeah, that's Robin's not in it. It's Roy Harper
And then Nightwing.
And is it Nightwing?
It is Nightwing.
Oh yeah. And Starfire, right?
No,
Starfire's in Teen
Titans.
I get so confused the two groups of Titans. There's too many damn Titans.
No, there's this psychic girl who kind of is weird like Raven. Sort of. I don't know. Titans is kind of... It's like one of those weird legacy books, and I don't even think it's the original lineup, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Because they went ahead and they made Cyborg part of the Justice League.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he's got another book coming out soon, too.
He's got a book.
A lot of these ones are popping up now that everyone's kind of like pretty much got their hooks in with like their Superman books and the Wonder Woman books, and then
first buy our marquee characters, then buy more books for our fringe characters.
Yeah, well, DC's got a lot of fringe characters to go ahead and work with.
They got a ton. They just they haven't been successful marketing them in the past few years for sure, but.
Well, they don't have any faith in them. The only person who has any faith will even attempt to try anything with them is Geoff Johns.
Geoff Johns, yeah.
They won't let other people do other stuff. I mean, not everything's going to get a huge response, but people are buying or at least looking more into comics now than they ever have. I think the industry isn't really taking into account the digital market share of how much money is being pulled in through the digital medium right now.
Right.
And a lot of people wait for trades, too. They wait for the things to be complete before they go and buy these things and check them out.
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes, if I know it's a good arc, but I just don't think I can grab it right now, I'll wait for the trade. Sure. Of course. So, well, I, for one, as a DC fan that came on board at the beginning of the New 52, and has stayed put ever since. I love what they've been doing with Rebirth, and I can't wait to keep finding out more about what comes to happen. So
I'm just hoping it's steady as she goes, and then eventually, like, they can go ahead and try another universe-wide thing. I mean, they would have done it by now. Usually they hit in September or like February or April.
But the Rebirth line is also like so new that like it might be hard to like do a big crossover, like, you know.
Yeah, I think they should just let it have its legs and let the crossover events be a solo book in itself.
That would be cool.
And leave it alone and let everyone else just write their stories that they want to write. And then like they can find a way to fit it into continuity. It's not that hard.
Right, right.
They got the keys to the kingdom. The keys to the kingdom.
Well, this has been a lot of fun talking about these titles. If you haven't checked out what DC has been putting out for Rebirth yet, do yourself a favor and check out these books. DC has really put the final puzzle pieces back in order to make things really complete with their continuity, and it's been really fun to read. So I want to thank all you listeners out there, and please, 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 please like our videos and subscribe to the Vigilant Geek YouTube channel. And if you're interested in checking out some radical articles and independent book reviews, go to thevigilantgeek.blogspot.com and check out our blog. I'm Andrew Puzak of Vigilant Geek Media, and with me, as always, my comic book partner in crime,
Holden Jack Orme of Vigilant Geek Media.
And as always, stay vigilant.